Emma Talbot didn't raise her voice. She raised her phone. I swear the whole room froze. The woman lunged, fingers clawing at Emma's collar. Fabric tore. Gasps. A sharp breath cut the air. Someone whispered, "Is she filming this?" Emma didn't flinch, didn't blink, just kept the camera steady. Her shirt hung off one shoulder. Her silence held the room by the throat. "You don't belong here," the woman spat. Emma pressed record harder. She didn't defend herself, because the moment had arrived, the one she'd been waiting for. And now, everyone would see it. She kept the house, not for value, but for memory. It still smelled like cedar when the windows stayed closed too long. The porch creaked the same way it did when her dad used to sit out front, coffee in hand, one boot resting on the railing. He never said much, but when he did, Emma remembered every word, especially one. Respect doesn't come from rules, it comes from who remembers why they were written. The HOA didn't know that line. They only knew fences and forms, not foundations. When the new board arrived, they acted fast. A fresh logo, a new tone, fewer questions. One morning, without warning, a crew came and removed the plaque on her front steps. A piece of old oak, weathered, carved by hand. For those who watched, not ruled. It had been there since she was 12. Emma stepped outside that morning and said just one thing. "You touched the wrong name." No one answered. The contractor shrugged, said it was against guidelines, walked away. Inside, she sat down, opened the drawer, pulled out the HOA charter, the original. It still had her father's signature on page 1. He was one of the first 5 families to build this community. Before there were fences, before there were fines. She reread every word, marked pages, cross-referenced landlines, made copies, saved them to a drive. One for the lawyer, one for herself, one she didn't label, just in case. The photo in the living room had tilted in its frame, her father standing right beside the old plaque, one hand on it, looking half amused, half proud. She didn't straighten it, she just stared. That night, she reinstalled her cameras, 2 on the porch, 1 inside, behind the curtain, and she waited. The letters started the week after, fines, citations, a warning about non-compliance. She didn't respond. She filed a copy to the county, a copy to the HOA legal line. The third she walked over herself, 11:59 a.m., just before their monthly board meeting. She placed it face down on the front desk, then turned to leave. She didn't slam the door, she didn't speak, but anyone watching closely would have seen the way she paused at the top step, right where the plaque used to be. One breath, one glance, and in that stillness, something shifted, like the start of a storm you didn't know you'd been walking into. She showed up on a Thursday, hair-pinned, shoes silent, clipboard tight to her chest like a verdict. No one introduced her, she didn't need it. The badge said, HOA Committee, Enforcement Lead. The smile said, don't bother resisting. 2 others flanked her, matching polos, matching steps. Emma stood behind the screen door. Didn't open it. Linda didn't knock. She walked straight to the gate, peeled the tape, flattened the corners, posted the violation. One clean press of her palm, right over the old rust mark where Emma's dad used to hang the flag. Unauthorized structure, non-compliant signage, HOA Code 4.62, she said, reading like she'd practiced. Emma didn't move, just turned her wrist slightly, angled the pot by the porch rail, adjusting the camera nestled in the soil. Inside the house, still. Outside, quiet like a street before thunder. The paper flapped once in the wind, then clung to the wood like it belonged there. I'm not asking, Linda said, loud enough for the neighbors to hear. I'm enforcing. And for a moment, the birds stopped. Someone across the street paused, watering their lawn. 2 porch doors creaked, not opening, just curiosity shifting behind blinds. Emma's hand rested on the railing, same place her father used to sit with his mug and his maps. Her fingers tapped once, then went still. She looked at the notice, then looked at the exact nail Linda had used. That nail held the first blueprint. The original outline of the house, dated and sealed. outside HOA jurisdiction. But Linda didn't know that. Yet. The clipboard flicked shut with a snap. Linda turned to go, her shadow sliced across the front step. One of her staff glanced at Emma, almost flinched. She didn't return the look. She just raised the screen door a fraction, let it whisper open, took one photo, no flash, then closed it again. No words, no protest. But Linda had walked straight into the wrong boundary, and the violation she posted, it wasn't a warning, it was Exhibit A. Maybe you've been there too, watching someone cross a line they thought no one would call out. That moment when silence feels louder than a scream. If stories like this remind you what fairness should feel like, you're welcome to stay. Subscribe, drop your thoughts below. We notice every quiet voice. Emma didn't touch the notice. She didn't rip it down, didn't post a rebuttal, didn't even close the gate. She stepped outside, took one photo, then walked back in. The paper fluttered, still taped to the fence, still exactly where clipboard Linda had placed it. At 3:14 p.m., she logged the timestamp. Then she mounted a second camera, not hidden, clipped to a shepherd's hook by the hedge where anyone could see it if they looked, facing the notice, framing the gate, capturing everything. She didn't explain, but she did write. A single line dropped into the neighborhood group chat. Just letting folks know, HOAs issuing citations for decorative plaques could affect others. 3 dots, then a reply. Wait, plaques too? Even old ones? Mine's been there 12 years. No one ever said anything. Is this new policy? She didn't respond. She just watched the dots multiply. The thread picked up steam. No accusations, no shouting. Only questions, piling up like quiet kindling. Out her front window, Emma saw it happen. A woman with a stroller paused, read the paper, tilted her head. Another neighbor, raking leaves, walked over to peek, then stood longer than he needed to. Emma didn't smile, but her grip on the windowsill tightened. Slow, controlled. It wasn't a win, not yet. But it was the first ripple. The HOA hadn't just touched her house. They'd touched everyone's, and they were counting on no one noticing. Later that evening, as dusk pulled long shadows through the street, a little girl walked past with her mom. She glanced toward Emma's porch, now stripped bare. The girl slowed, looked up, and asked, "Why'd they take the pretty wooden one down?" The mother didn't answer, just tugged her hand gently, kept walking. Emma heard it from inside. She didn't move, didn't cry, but her jaw tensed, hard. She turned to look at the empty spot, where the plaque used to hang, hand-carved, varnished, placed there by her father 18 years ago. In its place now, a blank space. HOA's approved signage, sterile, mass-printed, plastic white, same font, same size, no soul, all matching, lined like clones down the block. Emma's house had none. It stood apart, and for that, she'd been targeted. But now, others were noticing, not her anger, not her defense, just the hollow uniformity creeping in, and the silence of a woman who hadn't removed the notice. Because she knew, the real erasure wasn't just of a plaque, it was memory, and she wasn't done yet. They called it a community meeting, folded chairs, sugar cookies, a sign-in sheet on a plastic table. But everyone knew what it was, an ambush. Emma arrived 5 minutes early, white shirt, name tag clipped to her chest, notebook in hand. She sat in the back row, silent, still, watching. Linda stood near the mic, all polish and power, tan blazer, flashy necklace, voice louder than the speakers. "Some residents think they're above the law," she announced. "They've been warned, that ends today." She didn't say a name, but everyone turned toward Emma. Emma looked down, flipped one page in her notebook, didn't speak. Then came the part labeled Violators' Responses. Linda called her up. Emma stood, walked to the front. No rush, hands calm, shirt still clean, everyone watching. Linda didn't let her speak. She stepped forward, close, too close. "You're embarrassing yourself," Linda snapped. "Take that thing off." Her hand moved fast, clawing at Emma's chest. Fingers gripped the name tag, pulled. The plastic snapped, so did the seam. Fabric tore, loud and sudden. One sleeve gave way. The white shirt peeled open, sports bra exposed, gasps, phones lifted. Emma didn't move, didn't flinch, didn't cover herself. She raised her phone instead, pressed record, looked straight at Linda. Someone in the crowd stood. "That's enough!" a child cried. Linda froze, arms still raised, breathing heavy, as if just realizing what she'd done. Emma slowly turned her head. In the corner, next to the projector, sat Mr. Harlan, 73, ex-city planner. He had said nothing for years. He nodded. That was enough. Emma stepped off the stage, but not before pausing by the side curtain. With one finger, she pulled it back. Behind it, a laminated map. HOA district boundaries, faded. And right there, at the edge, a shaded box. The lot they were standing on. Not HOA land, never had been. It was legacy land, deeded separately, protected under historical zoning. Someone snapped a photo. Another posted in the neighborhood chat. Caption: "Wait, this isn't even their land?" Linda opened her mouth, closed it. No words came. The crowd shifted, chairs scraped, people whispered, phones buzzed. One message pinged louder than the rest, from a longtime resident, a former supporter of the HOA. "We all saw it. That wasn't enforcement. That was assault." No one clapped, no one yelled, but the silence shifted sides. And Emma? She walked back to her seat, not to hide, not to explain, to write something down. Next to the time, 7:42 p.m. Next to the line, physical incident, in public, on protected ground. Trap 2, complete. Trap 3, triggered. The wire had been cut. Now it was just a matter of letting them fall. 3 days later, Emma was called in. A formal disciplinary session. Location, HOA conference room, 4 board members, 2 HOA lawyers, and Linda, sitting tall at the center. Like nothing had happened. Emma walked in. Dark blazer, no emotion, not alone. To her right, a civil attorney. To her left, Dwight Monroe, silver hair, wireframe glasses, name tag faded with time. He didn't smile. He just placed a leather folder on the table and waited. Linda cleared her throat, loudly. "We are here to address the recent disruptions caused by this resident," she began, voice smooth, practiced. Emma didn't look up, didn't flinch. The HOA attorney slid forward a printed agenda. That's when her lawyer spoke. "Before we continue, I'd like to submit this. One folder, thick, precise, paper clipped with colored tabs." He opened it slowly, turned each page like setting dominoes upright. Page 1, aerial drone still, the moment Linda ripped Emma's name tag. Page 2, 4 angle stills synced by timestamp. Page 3, a high-resolution map showing property boundaries. The lot marked community space, historical zone, not HOA jurisdiction. Gasps. Page 4, HOA bylaws, outdated, never amended, still bearing 3 original signatures. Dwight leaned forward, tapped the page. "My signature," he said. "That one too, her father's." Silence. Linda laughed, thin and forced. "So what? She overreacted. It was just a tag." That's when Dwight stood up, voice low. "Even. She reacted less than any of us would. That's why she wins." Linda looked around, but no one defended her. Emma still hadn't spoken. Until now. She raised her eyes. Calm. "I'm not here to sue," she said. "I'm requesting a formal review of abuse of authority and public misconduct." 7 words. That was all. Linda shifted in her seat. The room was no longer hers. The HOA board exchanged glances. Someone whispered to their legal representative. Then, the last page, handwriting, faded ink, curved letters. A note from Emma's father in the margins of the original bylaw draft. "Let no one forget this land's story." The projector flickered. Someone exhaled sharply. It wasn't just about a name tag anymore. It was legacy, memory, lineage. And Linda? She had ripped into the wrong woman. On land she never owned, under rules she never read. in front of a man who helped write them. Emails leaked, clips went viral in neighborhood groups, a vote was called. Linda was out by Friday, and Emma? She walked past the conference table, didn't look back, only paused at the doorway, eyes lingering on the last line of the bylaw. Her hand brushed against it, not to remove, but to remind. The land would remember, and now, so would they. A week passed, no announcements, no headlines, just a quiet update on the HOA's group board. Leadership transition finalized. Thank you for your patience. No name mentioned, no apology written. But the streets were quieter after that. People nodded more, looked longer, said less. One morning, just after 8 a.m., Emma stepped out onto her porch. Gray hoodie, no makeup, barefoot on the wooden slats. She carried a single object, wrapped in a canvas cloth, unwrapped it slowly, turned it over in her hands. A wooden plaque, the same size as the one they removed, but this time, one line had been burned in. Deep, dark, clean. This land remembers. She walked to the same hook they'd ripped it from. Still there, slightly bent, but not broken. Emma rehooked the board, used a new loop, twisted from braided white cotton, strands pulled from her torn shirt. She adjusted the angle, stepped back, didn't smile, didn't sigh, just looked at it, as if to say, that's how it should have always been. She turned, pulled the porch curtain half closed, then locked the door from the inside. From the sidewalk, a young girl slowed her bike. She pointed. "Mom, what does that mean?" The mother paused, looked up at the porch. "Ask her someday," she said quietly. "She'll know how to explain it." The girl nodded, rode on. A single dry leaf dropped from the gutter, landed gently across the word, remembers. Emma didn't brush it off, she left it there. A breeze came a moment later, lifted the leaf, took it with. And the board stayed, not defended, not explained, just returned. Not everyone wants to win, some just want no one to touch what they've guarded too long.